Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for a very special and exciting Princess Cruises webinar. My name is Anna. I'm an Industry Relations Manager here at CLIA, and I'm going to just quickly go through some housekeeping before introducing our presenter. The webinar will run about 45 minutes with time for questions at the end. Please feel free to type your questions into the questions module of the webinar, and we'll get to them at the conclusion of the presentation. The webinar is being recorded and will be posted on CLIA's YouTube channel, which is CLIA Global. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter, John Chernesky. John serves as Senior Vice President, North America Sales and Trade Marketing for Princess Cruises and Cunard Line. He has been with Princess for 29 years and leads a team of professionals providing business development and strategic sales support to travel advisors. During that 29-year span, John has also worked in hotel operations, entertainment, onboard revenue, and even helped coordinate the design development for over a dozen ships. And with that, take it away, John.
Thanks so much, Anna. And clearly, based on how I bounced around this company, no one really wanted me, but it's my pleasure to be in sales for the last, 7 years coming up, I think. It's been my pleasure to be part of this team and to work with all of you. And I just want to say thanks for joining in today. I promise we're going to get through a ton of slides, but I'm going to keep it fast and furious and entertaining and informative. And so look forward to any questions you have coming up at the end. And the screen you can see there, Keep Calm and Call Travel Advisor. We've been using that for over 5 years now. And as I like to say, it's never made more sense. I'm wearing my Keep Calm t-shirt, and it's important that we stress the value that we place in working with you all in the travel advisor community. And thank you for staying calm with us over these last couple of years. As always, I like to show pictures of me and my family and the travels. We're going to see a bunch of Chernesky family pictures today, so buckle in. But it's really all about the power of storytelling, and I hope you channel that when you're talking to your clients, because there's so much to be said for sharing the story behind each experience, not just here's the trip. It's what are you going to get out of that? And if you haven't personally been to a certain destination, find some stories of your clients or friends or whoever that have and share that, because it's all about the emotional connection we make with each destination. You can see the montage of pictures here with my family, Caribbean, Japan, Mexico, which I'm going to talk about today. We've been very fortunate. My kids are 15. I have twin boys, John and Michael, that are 15, and they have now been on 14 cruises. So they are a little spoiled. Speaking of spoiled, I am definitely spoiled because I've traveled the world. And since last July, when we first set sail back in Alaska, I have been on 5 ships. And so this was when we were on the Enchanted Princess with a number of travel advisor partners that we welcomed on board. And it was our way of saying thanks and to get you to experience the cruise. So if you're not taking cruises right now, I hope you get out there. And it's also kind of a put your money where your mouth is to your clients to let them know that cruising is safe, it's fun, it's the best value proposition ever, never more so than now. And to have you out there showing that is great. And there's opportunities to sail, so please take advantage of those. Definitely with Princess only, of course. Don't sail with anybody else. No, I'm kidding. Hey, get out there. The more you cruise, the better. For sure. And I want to say thanks to my puppet and I. Now you notice behind me there, my puppet. Yes, it's a real puppet. I was talking to Anna before the show that it was created by the Jim Henson Creative Workshop, because we did a show on the Sky and the Enchanted Princess that tells a story of Jim Henson's early days. And so we have this handcrafted puppet made of me. Why not? I learned how to use it, and it's hard. And the puppet, anyway, has been partying a lot lately. The holidays continue for him, so he had a big night, so he's sleeping it off. But my puppet and I just want to say thanks to everybody at CLIA for all that you do, and thank you, everybody listening, for being a member of CLIA. It is so important to show your support, to get the education, get that certification. And I know there's some great stats, which I never can remember, about when you are CLIA and you get certified, the value that gives you as part of your business and being able to sell more cruising. Exponentially greater sales come from it. So what you're doing today, listening to me prattle on for the next 6-7 hours, is worth your time. And I do want to give a shout out to my good friend Charlie Sylvia, who hopefully is listening. And it's a bit early for him to be up in the day, but it's 11 o'clock it's 2 o'clock yeah, he's probably just up now on the East Coast. But my good friend Charlie, if you've not heard Charlie talk or spoken to him about his experience as a travel advisor, I would encourage you to pull him aside and pick his brain, because I consider him to be the Yoda of all travel advisors. He is amazing, and a dear friend of mine. So I just want to say thanks. And again, everybody at CLIA, we appreciate it. Okay, let's take a step back. Let's talk about, why do we cruise? What's in it for us? What's in it for our clients? Why are we doing this? all the negative media. My goodness, let's stay home and never get out there again. And refocusing on the basics of why we cruise. At Princess, everybody has their own reason, right? And at Princess, we like to kind of put it together and talk about really it's the value of connection and going together, either with people you know or people that you're going to meet along the way. And it's connecting with the people that you love, your friends, your family, the destinations you visit, of course, and meeting new people. Research shows that people go on cruises because they love meeting new people. And I see that firsthand all the time. Friendships are born, and those create travel groups moving forward. People love to travel together, be with the same staff. I want the same waiter. I hope the captain's going to be there. And that's the fun of traveling the world on a cruise ship. And then I've been saying this for the last 2 years because I think it's so important for us to focus on having something to look forward to. And the research has validated not just my own personal beliefs. I did my own research on this to verify. There's some studies done that say you actually derive most of your happiness anticipating a trip, a vacation, a cruise with Princess than you do the trip itself. And that's because you imagine the nirvana state when you're traveling and you look forward to that. And every time you do, your body releases a little endorphin of happiness. And that makes you excited, whether you're falling asleep at night or bored during the day or doing something you don't want to do. Think about that trip that's coming up. It could be 2 years away, a year away, 6 months, doesn't matter. And you're going to get a little bit of happiness. So please, everybody get a cruise on the books so you have something to look forward to. I mentioned I'm going to talk about my travels as a personal trip, my personal trip I just took with my family, and I wasn't kidding. So get ready, buckle in. We're going to show some of the imagery from the trip that we just took on December 29th. We sailed on the Majestic Princess, 10-day Baja Peninsula and the Sea of Cortez. So you can see we started in LA, 2 days at sea, Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan, day at sea, Loreto, Cabo San Lucas, sea day, and then reality. I say that because it's always the hardest part about taking a cruise is leaving it, because then you are back to making your own dinner and cleaning everything. You know what I mean? It's life, right? But man, the memories we formed as a family are priceless. Here we are sailing out of San Pedro in the main harbor of Los Angeles. Behind us is the battleship Iowa, which my dad was on back in the 80s. I actually spent a couple days sailing on that battleship when he was on board, saw the big guns blast off, and it was a lifetime ago, but great memories for sure. Now, my dog Murphy, who many of you know is my favorite son, we had to make sure he was in good hands while we were gone, and that was most important. So a good friend of ours, Cindy, took care of the Murfster, as I call him, and we got daily updates. So just for those of you worried about Murphy, he was taken care of, but he did not come with us. We stepped foot on board, and the first thing we did, of course, my boys, we had to get to Alfredo's to enjoy the wonderful pizza. Princess has the best pizza at sea, and boy, did we consume a lot of it, but it is so good, so fresh, great service, and if you haven't tried it when you're on board, please make sure to do so. We were there for New Year's, of course, so it was all about the New Year celebration. There's my wife and I having our pre-dinner cocktails. We had the hats. There's my boys wearing the hats. And I found this meme, which I think says it all. New Year's as a kid, fireworks, the glory of it all. New Year's as a teen, okay, for some of us, maybe not the most productive use of our time. New Year's in my 20s, woo, party on. And then New Year's now, tucking in early, not even making it to midnight. And so I think this picture of me up on deck before the party actually started says it all. I'm wearing the hat, I'm there, but I'm a little sleepy. And so yes, we did make it to New Year's, but just barely. And then we had a beautiful day at sea. And man, to get out there, to smell that fresh air and to hear the crashing of the waves and the beautiful sunset. I mean, there's so much to do on board, or as little as you want, really. If you want to just sit and read a book or take a nap, it's up to you. But having that balcony and being out there and the views, just priceless. And I tell you what, the Chernesky family has a new tradition. We had a ping pong tournament on the Majestic Princess, great ping pong facilities, and it was a very heated battles. And no, I did not win. And then you just can't beat the sunsets at sea, right? And they were just so gorgeous. And anyway, I have tons of pictures of sunsets I won't bore you with, but our first day was in Puerto Vallarta. Beautiful day at the beach, went to a beach resort. And as my friends were in the Midwest, kind of freezing, or in my family in New England, freezing, we were in 75 degrees on the beach in Puerto Vallarta having a wonderful time. Now, just a little orientation of how the Baja Peninsula comes down. You then go into the Gulf of California, and that's where Loreto is. So it's on the east side of, so the right side of the actual peninsula there, which I had never been to before. And I have to tell you, Loreto, and by the way, I didn't even mention Mazatlan. I'm sorry, I skipped Mazatlan. I'm coming right to Loreto because I just found this place to be amazing. So that 10-day trip that we do, really brings you to the most picturesque, idyllic Mexican port town you could imagine. And we had a catamaran trip booked for the day with our shore excursions, doing some snorkeling. There we are with the captain behind us. He was great. And then we did this circle around the Isla Danzante, or the Isle of Danzante. And then we ended up at Honeymoon Bay. It's been a while since my wife and I had our honeymoon, but we ended up there and we saw these beautiful natural arches on our way there. You can see me here. Gorgeous day and not stuck in the snow where some of you might be from. Jumping off the boat, my kids were there having some good time doing some cannonballs into the water. And obviously I fell in the boat. I couldn't do a cannonball, I just fell in. And then there we are. It's just a gorgeous time. We had a wonderful time. And then my kids went back on board and my wife and I, we decided to walk the streets of Loretto. There was my wife and I as before we headed in. Did you know Loretto is actually during certain times of the year, I think it starts in February, blue whales can be seen in the Sea of Cortez. And so we did not see any blue whales, but you can also see gray whales, humpback whales. The very first mission on the West Coast, so you'd lot of think the missions in California, actually the first one actually came in Loretto in 1687, and this is it. And so this started a series of missions that went all the way up the coast of California. And so it was a beautiful setting, beautiful day. I think I took some nice pictures there. And then most importantly, let's have a great local lunch with a margarita. Had a wonderful time. And then strolled our way back to the ship down the beautiful promenade. And there's a great shot of the archway and then the ship in the background. Okay, next day we are in Cabo San Lucas. And if you've not been to Cabo, this is perhaps the most famous site, El Arco, the arches. It is, and the ship anchors right there. And so this was the view from our balcony as we were just waking up that morning. So I mean, it was pretty cool. And we did a little adventurous trip that day. We went on basically a four-wheel drive excursion. So we're talking helmets, goggles, the gaiters in our face because of all the dust. And trust me, we needed it. We were streaming along the paths there and doing a little off-roading. And this next picture, because you knew when the photographer was there, he was going to take your picture. And so I made sure that I was on my phone. I was on a very important call with a travel advisor during that photo taken. This same tour, we then go back to the beach. They actually do a camel excursion. So you can go ride a camel on the beach in Mexico, the full experience. I thought that was pretty cool, but we did not do that. We actually stayed back and had a tequila tasting, and it was really cool. We did some tequila, we did some mezcal, margaritas. Thankfully, there was some food involved, otherwise I would have passed out, but we had a wonderful time there. And then just that beautiful view of the arches, looking forward on the ship there as the sun was setting. Now I want to talk about, and then we had more times at sea, et cetera, but I want to really talk about food. And I have to say, I've been with Princess for 29 years, as Anna said, and here's my son, John, about to devour the fettuccine Alfredo in the little cheese basket, which we asked for. And I have to say, I think they ate fettuccine Alfredo every night of the cruise. But I have to say, the food on Princess right now, the quality, the service has always been amazing, but the quality of the food has never been better. And I say that with all honesty. I was so impressed. Everywhere we went, fresh pastas, fresh made sauces, just can't beat it. The lattes, the cappuccinos, the coffees, everything was such high caliber. Beautiful, healthy sandwich here with a little bit of bacon. Who's going to argue with that, right? And then maybe a souffle for dessert. If you insist, waiter, yes, I'll have the souffle. I think I ate like 4 souffles on the cruise. And speaking of 4, one night I decided to have 4 desserts because why not? It was such a wonderful time. And now part of the benefit of our experience was because we were in club class. So maybe you don't even know about club class, so let me tell you about it. So club class is really an elevated experience. And this old picture of me and my family from several years ago when my kids were actually young and cute, is basically a category of mini suites. So there's a special carve out of these mini suites that are in a premium location as well as the full suites. And what club class gives you, the most important thing about it is that you get the dining experience where you don't have to make a reservation. You can show up anytime you want and be seated right away. And in often cases, you end up having the same waiter because you have a bond, you form one. And that to me is the highlight. So if your clients are asking you about sailing in a mini suite, I highly recommend you talk to them about club class. Number one, it's going to be a little more expensive, so more commission for you, but it's not about you. It's about your clients and them getting a better experience. Trust me when I say their experience in club class is going to make them come back to you because if they can afford it, and not everybody can, and so that's fine, but at least have a conversation with them and explain the value because the overall experience, I think, is exponentially better. And then, of course, movies under the stars. We pioneered this back in the day, the first cruise ship to have it. Now most do, but I think our experience is the best. To be out at sea in Mexico, in the Riviera of Mexico, having a football game on, having an adult beverage was just amazing and something you don't want to miss out on. Now, I want to mention real quick about our amazing crew. And so what we're experiencing right now is the appreciation, the loyalty, the true love of Princess that our crew members have. And we have taken great care of them. And we're so happy that we can bring them back and put them to work. This is Teresa, our stateroom steward, and she was amazing. And we came back to our room one day, and I found this note which says, Mr. and Mrs. Chernesky, good morning. I saw this $1 bill outside your balcony at the side deck near the round table. Respectfully, Teresa. Now, I don't know about you, but a dollar, the fact she went to the effort to return this dollar bill says everything about her character and the service that she provides all of her guests and us in particular. And the fact that she took this time, this wasn't a $100 bill. And by the way, it wasn't even our dollar. So I ended up giving it to her at the end of the cruise, and I told her the story, how much I appreciate it. And the trust that this built between us and her said everything. If she's going to go to this care over a dollar bill, imagine how she's going to take care of your stateroom. So I just love that story, and I think she embodies all the greatness of our crew, and we're so appreciative that she did that. It was really special. And then, our trip wrapped up, and there's our picture. The Christmas decorations were still up on the ship because we got on the 29th, and so this was our formal night photo, and just so lucky to have a great family and to experience that trip with them. So that's it about my travels. Now I want to talk about health and safety, because while we were on board, there was a lot of news attention on the cruise industry. Some other cruise lines had to cancel a few voyages, and in most cases, those voyages were delayed starts. It wasn't like they were booked with thousands of people on board and they had to cancel. In many cases, those other lines, and I don't mean to speak for them, but it wasn't like a panic of, oh my God, Omicron, we have to cancel. We have been operating even before COVID with strictest of health and safety measures. And I think pre-COVID, the big concern was, am I going to get norovirus on board? And my good friend Charlie reminds me that, norovirus is not a cruise ship illness. It is a worldwide virus that exists. And you are 750 times more likely to get norovirus ashore than you are on a ship. But man, if there's some cases on board a ship, it's a frontline news, whereas no one ever talks about it anywhere else. So that's just how we have to deal with things because of the way that we report so much of our health and safety measures to the CDC. Now, on board, just as a reminder, we are requiring people to be fully vaccinated, children 5 and up. We have pre-cruise testing within 2 days of embarkation, and there's mask wearing on board in public areas. You don't have to wear it in your cabin. You don't have to wear it when you're outside. But obviously, if you're in an elevator, walking into a dining room, you wear it, then you sit down, you take it off. And so those standards, I think, are the best in any travel option out there. And so you could be in the most expensive restaurant in Paris, France, Michelin star restaurant, have no idea if your waiter's been vaccinated, have no idea if he's been tested recently, and have no idea if the people around you have been. Whereas on a cruise, you have that comfort of knowing. And I think because of that, my personal experience on board, we never worried about health and safety, even though everything was breaking like crazy around us in the media, and I was getting email flurries coming in. The reality is, I think, the health and safety standards are so impressive that me and my family were always felt comfortable, always felt safe. And trust me, if I didn't think it was safe, I wouldn't bring my family on a cruise, but we did, and we had a wonderful time. And just some reminders about some did you know, and thanks to my friends at CLIA for providing this. We're the only industry in the US, travel and tourism sector, requiring both vaccine testing. So I mentioned that, and that is true. No one else is requiring that. You get on a plane, you can go to a stadium, you can go to a hotel resort. We're the only ones requiring both vax and testing. And then we're the only ones that monitor, collect, and report this information about COVID. So that's why it's transparent. That transparency is what's being picked up on. But the reality is you just don't know in other sectors, but we're the ones that are reporting it. And so when you're talking to your clients about this, please let them know we take these standards very seriously. And a good example is the CDC classification for the yellow, which brings concern that there's something going on board. If just one crew member or 0.1% of passengers is tested positive, then the ship goes into yellow status. And so, as you probably heard, the CDC is relaxing now the conditional sail order. I believe that as of this weekend, we're waiting on some final details, but nonetheless, we are voluntarily pursuing these programs and to make sure that we continue to be as healthy and safe as possible. And as an industry, since last June, we brought 100 ships back in the water. And so as an industry, I think we're doing great. We still have more to bring back. And with your help, we will do that. And thank you for talking with your clients and letting them know just how safe a cruise is and the seriousness with which we take all of our health and safety standards. Okay, let's move on and talk about some fun things, the destinations, all the great places that Princess goes. We like to call ourselves a destination leader, not necessarily just because we go to so many places, but it's how we bring our guests there and really try to immerse everyone in the destination from the minute you step foot on board and throughout your experience. So when you're in Alaska, you know you're in Alaska. When you're in the Panama Canal, you know you're Hawaii, etc. So it's really about ensuring you feel like you're in that destination throughout your full journey. And I tell you what, we have never, this is a list of all the places, all the destinations that we have on sale. We have never had this much inventory available. We've gone all the way through 2023 and even into 24 for the World Cruise. And so you have options now with your clients to hopefully give them something to look forward to, right? We talked about anticipation, and clearly you've got plenty to choose from. And we're seeing huge demand, especially leading into this summer for Europe in particular, as well as Alaska. And if you don't mind me, I'll talk a little bit about Alaska. It's near and dear to my heart, one of my favorite places. And at Princess, we're actually the #1 cruise line in Alaska. It's not a claim we make up. It's because we carry more people there than anyone. We've also just won again the Travel Weekly Award as Best in Alaska, which many of you hopefully voted on. So that's our 18th time winning that. And then an internal survey that's done of you all, the travel advisor community, to say, hey, which brand do you recommend for each destination? We have been #1 recommended in Alaska for 19 straight years. So we don't say that just to brag. We say it because we want to thank you, first of all, and we appreciate it. And we really take it seriously. And we're always reinvesting in how can we make our experience even better. And at Princess, if you're going to go to Alaska, you have clients, let's say, that call you up and say, hey, I'm thinking of going to Alaska. I hope you're talking to them about a cruise tour. This picture here is real. This is Denali, which is the highest mountain in North America. It is a doozy, and it is something that you picture, as great as this picture is, it doesn't do it justice. You really have to see it in person. And this is one of the highlights of going on a cruise tour. But I really want you to talk to your clients. If they say, oh, I'm thinking of going to Alaska, say, have you considered a cruise tour with Princess? Because it's not just about the fact that you're going to make more commission, and you will because it's more expensive, but it is the highest rated way to see Alaska. And I don't want your clients coming back from their cruise only saying, why didn't you tell us about cruise tour? We talked to somebody who just can't, you want to at least inform them. So make sure you have talked to your clients about it. And if you're unfamiliar with what a cruise tour is, I'll say it's very, very briefly, I'll say you combine a cruise, it's a 7-day cruise, northbound or southbound from Vancouver up to Whittier, which is near Anchorage, or you can do the other direction. You get on a beautiful train trip, and the train is one of the highlights, which I'll talk about in a second. And then you stay at one of our lodges. And so it is so convenient. And you might think, oh, it's planes, trains, and automobiles there, John. I don't like the sound of that. Trust me when I say we make it so simple for you in how you transition from one world to the next. And I say that purposely because when you're on a ship and you're cruising up the coast, and then you go in the interior of Alaska, you feel like you're on a different planet because it is a very different experience between the two. They're both amazing, but both need to be seen firsthand. So that train journey I talked about, we have an exclusive, what we call direct to the wilderness. This is the picture of the pier in Whittier. As you can see, there's not much there. It's just a ship in a very small little town. But you walk off the ship, walk across the parking lot, and you get on this beautiful train that we own. It has open air portions as well as the glass domes for viewing. There's a dining section, and you don't have to worry about your luggage. It's taken care of for you. It's tagged all the way through. You can even have a bag just for the lodges that you don't even need to worry about on the ship. It's that convenient. And then it's a great journey along the coastline. I think one of the highlights of the whole trip, to be honest with you, one of my favorite parts, and not to be missed. And whether you're going northbound or southbound, you're going to be on that train getting to or from the ship. And then you're going to be heading to one of our 5 lodges. Princess owns and operates 5 lodges throughout the interior of Alaska. So you've got Denali, which is right at the entrance of the park to Denali National Park. but you can't actually see the mountain from that area. Nobody can because of the way the other mountains are positioned. That's why we built the Mount McKinley Princess Wilderness Lodge back in the day, just so we could have views of the mountain from the balcony. We have a tree house there, great activities to be had there. And then Copper River and Kenai are out in more kind of middle of nowhere type locations. They're much smaller. They're actually our highest rated lodges because they're smaller, they're more intimate. Copper River is on the footstep of the Wrangell St. Elias National Park, which, fun fact, I've said this before and I love saying it. If you took Wrangell St. Elias and compared it to other big things in the world, if you combine Yellowstone National Park, Yosemite National Park, and the country of Switzerland, that's the size of Wrangell St. Elias. So Copper River is right on the doorstep of that great park. Kenai is down on the Kenai Peninsula, and then Fairbanks, which is up north. And I tell you what, the more north you go, the more likely you are to see the Northern Lights. And we actually have a cruise tour called the Ultimate Cruise Tour, where you can see all 5 of these lodges, plus a cruise, 17 days. It's pretty popular. I'm not even sure if it's available for next year, but check it out for 23. But you can do all sorts of combinations of these great cruise tour experiences and go to the lodges. So I recommend you check that out. And if you're part of an organization that might have one of exclusive offer with us, please do check that out and mention that to your clients. I was in Alaska last summer. Hard to believe I'm saying last summer because we're already in 22. Last July, I was on the very first trip on the Majestic Princess back to sea up in Alaska. Here's some of the pictures from our trip, our journey. Yes, whales do fly. I did take that picture of a baby whale flying out of the water. Glacier Bay, of course, such a highlight. And I forgot to mention Glacier Bay. When you're going to Alaska, not every cruise goes to Glacier Bay. Some cruise lines go there more than others. At Princess and our sister brand Holland America line, we have the vast majority of permits to go to Glacier Bay. And I like to say every cruise to Alaska is great, but if you're not going to Glacier Bay, you're kind of missing out. And so I don't mean to undersell the cruises that we offer that don't go there, because they're great. I just think if you can get to Glacier Bay, please do so. Okay, enough about Alaska. I can talk about that for hours because I truly love it. At Princess, we have what's called MedallionClass. Hopefully you're familiar with that. And it's a game-changing way to experience your cruise. And let me get my medallion here. It's a little quarter-sized device. Everybody gets one for their cruise. It's unique to each individual cruise. Your name is on it, the ship, and the date. And so if you take 2 cruises in a couple week separation or back to back, you're going to get a new medallion for each cruise. So no matter what cabin type you're in, no matter how many cruises you've done with Princess, you're going to get a medallion. And the beauty of MedallionClass, well, let me give a quote here coming up from our president, our new president, John Padgett. John actually created the MedallionClass. He's the one that developed this technology, and he sums it up best. He says, vacations are the ideal space to optimize our time, which is our scarcest resource. Every minute you wait in a line or are otherwise inconvenienced is a minute you can't enjoy elsewhere. Given that many of us spend months planning for vacations, we want the best experience imaginable. And that's really what MedallionClass is about. It's about giving you more time back to enjoy your trip. And I've lived the dream. I just came off Majestic and I thought it was amazing and so convenient. But there's a number of key features that I want to quickly go through to make sure you know, well, okay, John, what is this MedallionClass? Everybody has a medallion. Well, do we have to be sitting on our phone all day? No, you don't. And this is the beauty of MedallionClass. Once you're on board, you don't even need to use your phone. The crew will identify you because of your medallion. I recommend using your phone because it gives you more power to do some certain things, but you can also use your stateroom TV. You can interact with that in your stateroom. You can interact with public portal screens that are out near the elevators, over 100 screens on every ship. You can interact with the screen there, or you can use your phone or just ask a crew member. That's all you need to do. So top right there, we'll start. You board your ship faster. The embarkation is seamless because of MedallionClass. Keyless stateroom entry. You walk up to your cabin and it recognizes you and unlocks automatically when you're several feet away from your cabin. You can hear the door click open and it recognizes you. I just had one where it recognizes a birthday or a special celebration, and you feel special every time. You feel like a king or a queen going into your castle. And you might think, John, how hard is it to open your door? Trust me, once you've done it once, you can never go back because you're spoiled. I like being spoiled. Crew call chat. You can actually engage with our crew. I had an issue where I needed something fixed out on the balcony. I sent a message in the crew call chat. They responded back and said, we'll take care of it, and the problem was solved. So you can interact with our crew. You can even say, hey, I need some help. Can somebody come visit me in my stateroom, or I'm here in the piazza? And they'll come and find you. That's the power of you enabling our crew to help you even more. Then we have the finding your way around the ship. I tell you what, people tend to get lost. My wife, don't tell her I said this, man, she couldn't find her way around the ship until the very last day of our cruise, 10 days in. Thank God I was with her. Which way do I turn? How do I get to the dining room? How do I get? You can have step-by-step directions, even with ADA routing if needed, which is super cool. And you can find people in your travel party. Where are my kids? Why aren't they where they said they were going to be? Where is my wife? You can actually use the technology to locate people. And quick tip, let's say you're the husband and you don't want to be found by your wife, completely hypothetical. You can turn that feature off. I don't want to be found. The kids, however, can never turn that off. They always will be findable. So I think that's pretty cool. Playtime, so includes gaming, free games. You can actually gamble in the casino from the comfort of your balcony. You can play real casino games. We even have a sports book now that's featured as part of MedallionClass, so you can bet on actual games if you want. The best Wi-Fi at sea with MedallionNet, I mean, doing FaceTime from the ship, streaming Netflix, whatever it is you have to do. People are working from ships now because you can. And then Dine My Way, which helps manage your dining reservations, which I'll talk about in just a second. And then the delivery of whatever you want, wherever you are. And so this is such a great, I was in my stateroom, woke up, wanted a couple of lattes, boom, ordered them, they came to my stateroom. We're in on the deck, I needed a couple drinks, I ordered it up, boom, it's there. Obviously the crew are around to help you as well, but if you just want to place that order and then you relocate, because the medallion knows where you are, it will find you and the crew will find you as well. So it's just all those features, and there's even more I didn't even talk about, but I just think they really help you deliver, or help us deliver on an even better experience for you and your clients. Now, Dine My Way is so amazing because it really allows you, for each individual guest, to craft their experience. Do you want to make the same reservation every night in the same dining room? Boom, you can do that. Do you want to customize every night? Do you want to get on board and just go with the flow and see what's available and go there? You can do that. Specialty dining as well. It's so powerful with Dine My Way. And I love being able to not have to call, not have to go somewhere just to make that reservation. You can even do it off the ship. If you've made a reservation for 6 o'clock and maybe you're doing a shore excursion, or you decided to stay in the port for a little longer and you want to move your reservation to 8 o'clock, you can do that off the ship if you have cell coverage. So pretty cool. Sorry, John, that's great. You've talked about it. Wonderful, John. You're a sales guy, so you'll tell us anything. Does it actually work? And I will say, yes, I'm a sales guy, but I'm giving you my honest belief that it does. And who cares what I think, though? A couple awards we've gotten, best onboard technology, thanks to all the readers at Porthole. But I also think it's important to note that when we've measured the success of our service delivery, we do that all the time anyway. And we tracked when we introduced MedallionClass on a ship versus when it didn't have it, we have seen a double-digit increase in the Net Promoter Score on those ships as they get it. And so what's super powerful about that is it's showing you the data that people are seeing an improvement in their cruise experience. And the ultimate goal is to have such a great experience and such a great time. You want to come back, cruise the Princess again, and obviously rebook with you. Now, one of the requirements of MedallionClass before you get on board, which might sound a little disconnected, and it kind of is that you have to use your phone to do certain things to get ocean ready and to use Dine My Way before you get on board. And so we hear you. That's not ideal. And so we are developing, and I expect it to launch any minute now, but I just don't know. It could be a few weeks away. I'm not sure. Please bear with us. We are creating a web-based version of the Ocean Ready process. So your clients who maybe don't have a smartphone or have one and don't know how to use it can do so, or you can help them using this new web page that's going to be launching. And then Dine My Way will launch soon after that. So just know we heard you. And for those people, most people don't have any issues with it, but for those that do, you need a little extra help. We are launching these web versions coming up very soon. John, which ships have MedallionClass? All of them. Pretty simple. All the Princess ships have MedallionClass when they come back into service, or they're already there. So the consistency is there. You don't have to worry figuring out, well, which ship has it, which ship doesn't. They all do, and we love that fact. And trust me, our crew love it because it allows the crew to give even better service on board and to have so much of the behind the scenes work they used to have to do in paper and spreadsheets. It's all streamlined because of MedallionClass. Now, I want to remind you about our agent portal, our advisor portal called OneSourceCruises.com. And this is your place to go for everything. If you say, John, what's OneSource? I have no idea what that is. Talk to your agency manager because they need to get you a login. And it's everything from sales reporting, past webinars are recorded there. You can manage your bookings through Polar Online, various marketing information, marketing tools, collateral brochures, you name it, all sorts of the princess answers, which we'll talk about in a second, all things come from one source. So please make sure to log in there. Now, princess answers, I mentioned, it's really, I call it the Google of Princess. It is the same tool that our own reservations and customer relations team uses to find out the information if they don't know it off the top of their head. You have the same access to that. So why would you call us to ask a question that can be answered just by going to Princess Answers? That's all. It's all there. It's all for you. Now, if you find out that, my question's a little more complicated, I can't find it here, the next best thing to do is to give us a chat. Now, there's two chats. So there's one source, which is more about how do I log in or if having problems. Polar Online Chat is really where you want to go. That's open 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. There rarely is there holding time. Sometimes you might get a message that says, basically check back again because we're at capacity. So just give it a few minutes and go back in. But it is really slick, and the people are trained. They're people. They're not bots, because I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a chat and it's useless because it's a bot. These are real people who've been trained to answer your questions. There's certain things you can't do in chat. It might require an escalation or easier changes, but for the most part, you should be able to chat. So my recommendation is the answers first, chat second, and then if you have to, give us a call. And I apologize if you've had excessive hold times of late. I mean, you've heard about the plight of call centers and trying to hire people. It is real, and we are doing our very best. We're bringing new people back in and training them. We appreciate your patience, and I like to say, and I've seen this sign at a restaurant, you go in and says, the people that showed up today, let's thank them and be nice to those servers. And same thing with our call center. They're doing a great job. They're working really hard, but we do apologize for those excessive hold times, but please only call if you really, really have to. Because here's a great stat. With chat and without chat, we did a little calculation based on the hold time and then the average handling time of each call. If you use chat versus calling us, you could save up to 60% more time using chat. So again, did I mention chat? All right, and then Princess Academy is our award-winning training program, which I think is the best in the industry. And it is really the foundation of teaching you all about Princess as well as the industry. It's not just about Princess, it's about everything to do with the industry. And I really want to recommend you get registered and take the Princess Academy courses, and ultimately you want to become a Commodore. But I just want to say, you're not alone. Since we've launched Princess Academy, coming up on 15 years now, 14 years ago, over 3 million courses have been completed. That's pretty impressive. I just got that stat a few days ago when we threw this in this presentation for the first time. So that's how popular it is. And then, like I said, there's different tiers of a qualification. Once you become Commodore, which is the top tier, this is the best rewards program related to that, because you get a free cruise. As a graduation cruise, you get a free cruise. And when you're traveling with us, you are recognized as elite level, which is our top level loyalty program. So anytime you cruise, whether it's part of your graduation cruise or maybe you get a travel advisor rate or a free cruise, whatever it might be, and you cruise with us again, as long as you're certified as being Commodore, then you will be treated like our top loyal guest, which is pretty cool. You get an onboard credit, you get some other elements there, the certificate, and then most importantly, I think, is this continuing education credit, not only for up in Canada, but obviously through CLIA, that which count towards your ACC or your MCC. So you want to take advantage of that. Now, one of the most fun programs I've been part of over the last few years was when I partnered with my good friend Charlie, and we created the Sales Expert Program. This is our way of giving you some sales tips on it. Maybe you're new to the industry, or you just need a little refresher on how do I better engage with my clients? How do I build those relationships and really connect them with the right cruise and the right brand ultimately? And this was our way of doing that. And so Charlie and I did some role playing. Charlie was always right. I noticed that I was never right. Charlie was always right. But when you do this, not only are you going to learn something, but you get 3 continuing education units with CLIA for completing that program. But wait, there's more. If you do the Princess Alaska Expert Program, which is a real deep dive on all things Alaska, and let me tell you something. There are agents that just sell Alaska, and that's their year, that's their career. It's that lucrative if you get into it. You become an expert in Princess Alaska Expert Program and Academy. You also get the 3 CEUs. So please do take advantage of all that Academy has to offer. Now, good news, we've just reintroduced brochures, not digital brochures, actual brochures. So these are now available to order. You can order the 2022 Alaska brochure, as well as our destination collection, which is kind of the overview of all things Princess. And so please go onto onesourcecruises.com and you can order them there for yourself or for your clients. Take advantage of it. Okay, I want to talk quickly about Princess Group. So I like to think the group program at Princess is the best in class. It's super flexible, it's automated, it's easy for you to manage. And if you're not booking groups, you're missing out on a very lucrative opportunity. And the most successful travel advisors I speak to, or agencies, understand this and take advantage of groups. It's the greatest way for you to grow your client base. So, and Charlie, having heard him speak about this, he does such a great job explaining the value of groups. And it's really something that you should be taking advantage of. Now, having said that, okay, Princess is great with groups. We can always do better. And so we spent the better part of last year focused on, well, what can we do better? Spoke to a number of agents who sell groups and had some basically suggestions for improvement for us, a critique of our group program. So we listened and we actually ended up we improved a number of things, but one of the things we created was what we call the new celebration group program. And so given the fact that we have all missed out on celebrating certain things over the last couple of years, we thought this was the perfect timing to launch this. But this is really, I think, the sweet spot for Princess when it comes to groups. These are small groups where people are out celebrating a birthday, anniversary, a retirement, whatever it might be. And we created this program with that group of people in mind, people that know each other. And that's an important distinction. This is not a speculative group where you're just trying to fill some beds and then earn a TC out of it. You are actually putting this together for people that know each other, because there's all sorts of functionality once they come on board that they really need to know each other. You actually don't want to book people that don't know each other on this, because you can impact people's dining and messaging and what they see on board. So please don't create groups that aren't for people that know each other. But with the new celebration group program, there's a few features I want to run through. So there's price, allocation, and amenity points first up. So for the price, it's the Princess Plus group rate. You can also book people into the Princess Saver, which is without the benefits of the Princess Plus. We'll talk about that in a second. You can combine, people can mix and match. That rate is locked in until the group sales. And I say that's important because people that travel together, brother, sister, cousins, hey, what did you pay? People talk and I paid 20% less than you did. That upsets people. So we make sure to keep that price consistent. You can start with a minimum of 5 staterooms. Okay, so it doesn't need to be a huge group. Let's say you have 10 people, 12 people. That's the perfect sweet spot for this group. You can also, well, the numbers are not necessarily, they're up to 199, but how many people know that many people, right? This is the allocation of how many you take out. So you allocate these cabins, you hold these cabins for your group, minimum of 5, maximum of 20. If you need more than 20, then you can do that, but you can book into it, but you just can't hold them. The allocation you open is guaranteed for 60 days from the date you open the group. So you got 2 months to fill the space, which should be plenty of time. And you don't need a bulk deposit for those 20 staterooms. It's the regular deposit program as people come into it, okay? The amenity points, you're gonna get 2 additional amenity points. And so we're working on actually rolling out, because this is hot off the press, we have new amenity point options that are gonna be tailored to, is it a birthday, or is it an anniversary, or is it a graduation? And those amenity points can be used for specific things that we know those group types like. But just know you get 2 additional points to use only for celebration groups. Now the TC ratio is going to default at 1 to 16, but you can actually use those points to buy it down all the way down to 1 for 10, because maybe that group wants to use it for a free cabin for and that's something how you've worked with them to market it to them, to say, hey, the patriarch of the family is going to get a free bed on board. And so, but it's up to you, or you can use those amenity points for other amenities on board. It's totally up to you. You can make double name changes on a booking up to 21 days prior to sailing. We know people change their minds or things happen, and so we want to give you that flexibility. The recall date, it's the group space, once it's allocated, is recalled 61 days after the group opens, but you can still book additional staterooms into that if there's availability. So it's not like it's the end of the world, oh my gosh, we can't book any more into that group. You actually can, but we give you that 60-day window to fill the group. And we figure most of these groups, when people are calling you and they're ready to go, and you can make those bookings right away. I mentioned Dine My Way earlier, and the beauty of this program for celebration groups is that normally, in order to get access to Dine My Way, you have to have paid in full, be a platinum or an elite member of our loyalty program, or be in a suite. Everybody else, you have to wait until final payment. Well, with Celebration Group, you can actually get access to making those dining reservations, because we know if you've got a dozen people on board, you're going to want to secure dining, and you are able to do that with Dine My Way right out of the gate. Pretty cool. I like to think this is the ultimate in upsell, because right now, rather than saying, when a client calls you and says, I want to go on a cruise to Alaska, first thing you say is, let's talk about a cruise tour. Second thing is there anybody you'd like to bring with you? Now it's, did anybody miss a celebration over the last couple of years? Did anybody miss celebrating their birthday or anniversary that you'd like to bring with you? Oh, you've got 10 family members? Let's create a celebration group. It's the ultimate way to have that upsell. And it's, again, it's nice for your commission payout in the end. It's nice to grow your business and to expand your client base. You get a bunch of happy people, but it's really about making more people happy and giving them the chance to take a cruise with Princess. And that value you're giving your clients is that much greater. Now we are reintroducing our Easy Air group program. So we got full details coming soon on this, but it is coming back because we know this will help for, let's say everybody's coming from the same city, coming from LA, coming from San Francisco, coming from Dayton, Ohio, whatever it is, those flights can be booked using our Easy Air group program to support the celebration group or any group that you might have. Now at Princess, we launched last year the Princess Promise as part of our Cruise with Confidence program. And we've actually tailored this now to our groups program because we want to make sure you are getting the responses that you need. And so effective a couple of weeks ago, we are saying we are committing to making sure that everything is right, and we will respond to any group inquiry before or after your group's cruise experience within 3 business days. And if you're not satisfied, we promise to make it right. Now, I haven't updated the logo, or we haven't had marketing update the Princess Promise logo, so I took advantage of that because I'm a kind of a graphics nerd. I love doing graphic arts, and so I updated the logo, so I think we are done. But just know that we have got your back, we are here for you, and the Princess Group Promise is now in place. And then last but not least about groups, we have our new loyalty and events manager position we created on board, because even though a celebration group, because it's smaller, doesn't really need a lot of assistance once you get there, you've got a larger group that needs help. We've created this position to make sure they can help manage those group requirements on all of our ships, and it's that dedicated resource, which is great. All right, now we are in Wave. The best sale ever is our current promotion. It's basically taking Princess Plus and adding new features to it. So you've got the premium drink package with tips included. You've got unlimited Wi-Fi with MedallionNet. You've got specialty dining added in for everybody in the cabin. Our crew appreciation, formerly known as gratuity, is taken care of, and everyone gets a stateroom location upgrade. This is through March 2nd, so you got to take advantage of this. On a 7-day sailing, it's a value of at least $695. So take advantage of the best sale ever before it goes away. All sailings 3 days and longer, all destinations, all staterooms. I put this slide up here because this is the foundation of Princess Plus, and you all done an amazing job selling Princess Plus. The drinks, the Wi-Fi, daily crew appreciation, and the beauty of this program is that if you bought all 3 of those things separately once you got on board versus the Princess Plus, buying it through Princess Plus means you're getting up to a 60%, almost a 60% savings. Buy it on board, $95 per person per day. Princess Plus only $40. So we think it's pretty great. And yes, it is commissionable. So that is baked into the fare that your clients are paying. And so totally my idea, my puppets actually. It's combinable, so please take advantage of that. And for more close-in sailings, we've also just introduced it 2 days ago, the spring on sale. So you get up to 40% off and $100 in spending money for the first 2 guests in the stateroom. So please, you can take advantage of that. It's great pricing and great opportunity for some spending money on board. And for those that are looking for cruise tours, we talked about Alaska. We actually have now a free Alaska meal package that can be included as well. So please take advantage of that, up to $469 in value per guest. And it's not every cruise tour, but there's a number of them there. And the reference code is free meals, which you can input into Polar and have it automated. You don't need to call us for that. Now at Princess, we take this very seriously, and it's near and dear to my heart, given my dad was in the Navy. We have the best military benefit in the industry, up to $250 in onboard credit. Once they get registered, they get that. Spending money on board is our way of saying thank you for those men and women who have served. So please take advantage of that. And as part of Princess Partners, which is really what we're doing here, it's webinars, it's the sales tools we give, training, all the support we give. We are constantly trying to give more to you to make you feel like we're in this together and to give you the tools that you need to succeed. That's really what it's all about. And we're about to launch Princess Wellness Tips, as well as some sales secrets video series that is coming up very soon. With that, I want to make sure you're following me on Facebook. Please go into Facebook. Don't search for my name, search for Princess VP Sales, and then you will find my account there. I just posted a daily update on my recent trip to Mexico on the Majestic Princess, and I thought we had a lot of great commentary and good feedback from all of you. We really appreciate it, and so please do follow me on Facebook. And I just want to say, on behalf of my puppet, yes, I also have a bobblehead. Here's my bobblehead. On behalf of my bobblehead and I, thank you to everybody for all that you do. Hang in there, stay positive, stay healthy. And now let's answer some questions. Anna.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We do have some questions coming in, and I invite everybody to keep them coming while we have John here. Before we get to the questions, Richard just wants to confirm that once you have Alfredo's pizza, you will not be happy with any other pizza. So there you go, a testimonial.
I agree.
Okay, now we can get into questions. Our first one is from Nancy, who is wondering, I know that you need vaccinations. Do you need a booster shot or just the first vaccination shot?
So right now, we are saying that boosters are recommended, but they are not required. And so this is going to be a fast evolving situation, I expect. And it could vary based on destination. So if you're going to Hawaii or you're going to the Caribbean, there might be different rules in place. And so I would just stay tuned to the updates. And on the one slide I had about cruise health and safety, there was that website, I shouldn't remember, I know it's princess.com/cruise health FAQ. If you go there, it shows you where things have been updated. You can search for things, any question you might have. That is where we put all our information. But right now, our recommendation is that yes, everybody should have the booster shot, but it is not a requirement, but watch this space.
Okay, understood. We have a lot of positive feedback about the medallion, and John is wondering if the medallion works on the land portion of a cruise.
So it does not at the moment. We're definitely in talks. The only exception to that, which is pretty cool, is that in certain locations, and more are coming soon, in Cabo, where I just was, there's actually certain shops and restaurants where if you go in, you can actually use your medallion to pay, and you get a 7% onboard credit back to your account to spend back on board as a discount back to you if you use the medallion. So you've got the Cabo shops, and I believe there's more expanding in the Caribbean, which is coming out. So it's pretty cool the way that you can use this to not only spend money and put it back to your folio, but you get that 7% discount back. And that percentage might vary based on which shop you're in. But it's something we've just introduced. We're not really even talking about it because it's a slow launch right now, but it's very exciting to be able to give that back.
Okay, got it. And our next question is from Vicky, who is wondering if you already have 5 cabins booked with friends, is it possible to now retroactively make those a celebration group?
Unfortunately, this is, well, depends when you made the group. When we launched this program, when we launched Celebration Group back in, geez, I'm losing track of time, November, December. If you made it after that, then yes, you can convert that. But if you made it before, then let's say you made it 6 months ago, unfortunately, this is for new groups only. There's exceptions to every rule, so you can always talk to your BDM and see what we can do. We don't want you to have a sour taste in your mouth about this, but we are moving forward, hopefully that it's new bookings only.
Okay, understood. Our next question is from Lana, who is really excited about the brochures and is wondering if they include your safety protocols.
Well, I tell you what, Lana, there is an overview of safety protocols in there, but again, because they seem to change every week or every hour in some cases, I would highly recommend you go back to that web link I was referencing, princess.com/cruise health. If you just do cruise health, it's there, and then there's an FAQ section that you just do cruise health FAQ, where all the questions can be answered. But that is the dynamic version of the cruise our health and safety standards, which again is updated quite regularly.
Got it. Our next question is from Steve, who is really thrilled to see the pictures of your children on board and is wondering what the minimum age for children is.
So the absolute minimum age in normal times is I think 6 months, but right now everybody has to be vaccinated. So given the approved vaccines, it's 5 years and up. But normal times we have little kids, toddlers, and our organized youth programs go from 3 to 7 and then 8 to 12 and then teenagers. So in normal times, it's very little, but right now it's minimum of 5 just because of the vaccine. So we'll have to see how that situation evolves. And it's not to say it's forevermore, but for the foreseeable future, that is the requirement.
Okay, got it. And it looks like this will be our last question from Cecilia, who is wondering, in your opinion, what is the best time of year to take a princess cruise to Alaska?
Oh, Cecilia, that's a great question. And sometimes I do a presentation where I actually have a grid that shows you every month and the pros and cons. And listen, I've been very blessed to have been to Alaska dozen times or more, most of them through work back in the day, in my old job. And I've been in May, I've been in June, I've been in July, August, September, and every month I find something glorious about it. Obviously, the peak time for families is late June, July, and then early August when kids are out of school. Um, there are benefits to going on the shoulders. May and September can be a little more affordable. Plus, you might see the northern lights. The bears are more active in May because they're just coming out of hibernation. Fishing is peak in June and July. There's more daylight in like middle of the summer in July. It's basically never gets dark. And I actually, on the trip I did with my family last July, we did in Juneau, we did two shore excursions. We did a helicopter trip out to the Mendenhall Glacier, went alpine mountaineering, got off of that and went on a boat and did an evening whale watching tour and had dinner on board. And you can do that until 10 o'clock at night and then go back on the ship because the ship sailed late. So there's no perfect answer. And to your question, and depending on when it rains, May and June I think are typically less rainy, but you can't predict the weather, right? And so I would just say, to me, any month is a good month to go to Alaska, but I typically go towards the July period just because that's when my kids are off school. So very personal decisions have to be made. It depends on your flexibility.
Perfect. Well, thank you for that insight. And we'll just end on this comment from Linda, who says, John, you are the luckiest guy in the world in your job. Great family, great personality. We appreciate all you do for the travel agents. Thank you. So we at CLIA certainly echo that. Thank you so much, John, for all of that information. And thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your time. And hang in there, stay positive. We're going to get through this, and the brighter days are ahead. Keep selling those great Princess Cruises. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone. Have a great rest of your week.